and welcome to Soul Sacral. I wanted to make a video, better late than never. I wanted to make this a long time ago, but now is when I have the time and place, so this is when I'm making it. And I'm really new at YouTube. I've only made a few videos. There's such a huge learning curve. I'm trying my best, so if you have any suggestions, I would totally be open to that. I wanted to make a video on the Aubrey Marcus issue. I know a lot has already been said, and I really enjoy watching them. I've watched a lot of them, but I wanted to just share my own voice. I think it's important when you feel inspired to follow that inspiration, even if, like for me, it's so embarrassing to even make videos and to even speak in public or share myself in this way. But I just do it because I feel called, and I think it's really important to follow those callings that you feel in your heart. Follow your heart. So I did type this up because I have so many things and I didn't want to forget them. And I did title this Narcissistic Cult Leaders, Aubrey Marcus, and Attention-Seeking Behavior. And I did that because I grew up in the Mormon religion, aka high demand religion. I consider it to be a cult. It was started by a man named Joseph Smith. As you know, he was not only a polygamist, he was practicing polyandry because he was actually marrying women that were currently married at the time. When I saw the Aubrey Marcus incident, and I'll go into who he is if you're not sure, it was extremely triggering because, not in a bad way, but just a big red flag went off in my mind that this is womanizing. This is not spiritual. It's not of the highest vibration. It's wrong, and it needs to be shared that it is wrong. It is of a low vibration. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for him. It's not healthy for the women. And there's some reasons why. I think people should be able to make their own choices if they want to be with multiple partners, flowing in and out. That's none of my business. That's their practice. But when you start to twist language and manipulate people and say that you were instructed by God, aka Spirit, aka Isis, whatever you want to call it, to do this, to follow your sexual desires, that's where I have a problem, because you're misleading people. And even if he's not doing it knowingly, he's doing it from a place of where he believes he got this prophecy or this instruction from God. You have to use discernment, and that's when big red flag. So I wanted to just address some of those. And who is Aubrey Marcus? He's a public figure in the spiritual realm. He made some supplements, he made a ton of money, he's wealthy, he's handsome, he's good looking, he's charming. He's the whole package, right? What a lot of I think women would be attracted to in a male, in a mate. And a lot of men would try to be like, to emulate, because he has this personification of confidence, of spirituality. So he is in the spiritual realm of social media in that way. So that's who he is. He has almost, I think, a million followers on Instagram. I looked it up just to see. He has a podcast that's quite successful. He's been on Joe Rogan. I guess maybe they're friends. I don't know that world, but anyways, that's who he is. And he created a podcast where he shared his polygamous relationship, and he had some type of counselor on there, not necessarily a therapist, who actually has a questionable sexually deviant past as well. So it's interesting, these people find others that support their behavior. And I know that he also has worked with and shares his, I don't want to say like idolization for Paul Check, who also is a polygamist. So anyways, that's who he is. I'll go into some of that later, but I want to just follow what I wrote because I don't want to forget what I wrote. I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure to include all of my thoughts. Another thing is that this is a huge reason why I want to talk about it as well. He's a huge advocate for plant medicine, aka using substances to connect with spirituality. So I'll just say what it is, and I'll talk about my feelings about it more. And if you know me, you know how I feel about that. We are born with our brains exerting DMT. We don't need to take it. We don't need any substances. There are such bad side effects for THC. I don't know what the side effects are for mushrooms, but a lot of people are doing those in meditation, and other substances, aka drugs. But let's think about this in a real sense. Plant medicine. Why do you need medicine? Because you're sick. So why are we promoting plant medicine to open up our psyche? In my opinion, when you use, quote, plant medicine, you're also opening yourself up to a lower vibration, entities that can attach to you, things that can twist your psyche and your understanding of spirituality. Just like Aubrey Marcus, that's one of the huge reasons I think this came into the limelight, so people can use discernment with plant medicine and think, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should use my own perfect body that I was created by the universe to connect to all that is, and I don't really need plant medicine, and maybe if I take it, it might twist what I'm getting from my own intuition. So he is a huge advocate for plant medicine. He shares it openly. So what he was doing was adding a young woman, she's in her late 20s, to his already, quote, monogamish, that's what he called it, because they weren't totally monogamous, relationship with his wife that he's had, I believe, for 8 years. And she's a little bit older. She's, I think, close to 40 or something, middle-aged. And he said that God told him directly during this visit to the Temple of Isis and then in a plant ceremony that he should get on this celebrity, whatever, dating app and look for another partner, that he could continue his relationship with his wife, add this new woman into their relationship, which is just called polygamy. Let's just call it what it is, and call it radical monogamy. So that's what the whole podcast was about. And this was all mixed in with doing the plant medicine ceremony. So just what I was saying, this distorting your connection to consciousness, making you think that you have these weird directives from spirit that aren't actually real through the plant medicine. And I already knew about his polyamorous relationships from his previous relationship to a woman named Whitney, who made a beautiful video about the whole situation as well, and how traumatizing it was for her to be in a relationship with him with different women, and her thoughts on his behavior. Just to prove that that didn't bother me. What bothers me is him saying that he got directive from spirit and using plant medicine, which can dilute and contort the information that you get from spirit. Polygamy is very old. It's not new. They're calling it, in his podcast, he calls it radical monogamy, twisting the word monogamy. It's not a new practice at all. It's not radical. It's really old. Women have been abused for eons by misogynist men. And what I got right away, and I'm going to go ahead and share this because he has made the situation public, I feel that it is completely appropriate to tune into spirit and to use your own intuition to read the situation because of how public he's made it. And what I got when I saw it was that because of his relationship with his father as a child, that he is acting out in a subconscious way to seek attention because he didn't get that from his father. So it's attention-seeking behavior, and he'll continue to do that and continue to have behaviors where he tries to get a lot of attention until that inner child is satisfied and is healed and comforted and knows that the only attention we truly need is from ourselves. So what I saw was that he has clearly a sacral chakra that is completely out of balance. And he talked about in the podcast that he has this fire that he calls it Eros, I believe, that is just burning. And so he needs to satisfy it with these sexual relationships. And what I got was that we don't listen and allow our fire to dictate our behavior and to drive us. We actually have to listen to our heart, which is water. And we can balance out the fire with that energy of the heart. They need to be in alignment. Actually, obviously, all of our chakras need to be in alignment. If there's one that's out of balance, we won't have a balanced life. And the problem with calling it radical monogamy and redefining language to make you feel better about your life choices and morals, that's the problem. We already have language. This is something that I've also seen and heard in the Mormon Church. And this is done also in society currently with the woke movement, is that people will try to redefine language in order to have their morals justified and their behaviors justified. So let's just call it what it is. It's polygamy, period. Another thing, having a therapist that you have on your payroll or a counselor and advisor that you're paying copious amounts of money or who is actually getting fame from this interaction is not therapeutic and it's not beneficial. Obviously, it's extremely biased. Also, having counsel from someone who has sexually deviant behavior as well is also going to validate your behavior if it's deviant in that same way. And I also think it's ironic that at that time, it's still going on, as Aubrey Marcus was sharing his podcast, the P. Diddy trials have been in the media. And here we have this womanizer in Aubrey Marcus, and we have this behavior, womanizing and misogyny, and we have the same type of behavior, a little bit different, but same theme in P. Diddy. So it's something that's going on in our universe. It's an opportunity for us to really look deeply at how we value, how we honor the feminine, and also to examine the confusion of how to treat and respect the feminine in our culture today and how out of balance it is. The whole point of it is to re-examine, protect, nurture, and cherish the feminine. When you use women primarily as sex objects, that is called womanizing. He is a womanizer. Monogamy is a respectful relationship between two individuals. And just talking a little bit about the parent wound. When we have a wound from a particular relationship with a parent or both, it creates a well, like a carve out in our energetic field, in our auric body. And we try to fill it with certain things. We can try to fill it with addictions, with substances, with chronic shopping, with being so busy all the time that we don't have time to be quiet, with too much socializing, with running away from our problems, traveling too much, not being able to settle down. There's so many ways that we can try to fill superficially this void that is created by the dysfunction of a relationship with a parent. It's our most primary relationship. So when there's something off, it creates this huge well that we try to fill. It's actually an opportunity for the deepest kind of self-love that we can have. If we don't learn that, then we'll constantly be trying to fill it in other ways. There's so many ways to heal it. You can book a session with me, and I'm more than happy to provide you with a reading, because every soul is so different. For me, my dysfunctional relationship with my mom created a very, very low lack of self-esteem and self-worth. And I had to slowly learn to believe in myself and to love myself so deeply. It's actually the deepest kind of love there is. So it's such a beautiful opportunity when we have the dysfunction in that relationship. It gives us such an opportunity to learn, to heal, to learn to believe in ourselves so deeply. And this is the opportunity that he has. Another thing I wanted to bring up from the podcast is that he said several times, I had to trust the medicine, and I think the women said it, or his wife said it as well. I have to trust the medicine. No, you don't. You have to trust yourself. Take the medicine out, the quote medicine, aka drugs. Why are we trusting something outside of ourselves? We have our own line of intuition that runs through us, and it connects us to all that is. It connects us to the divine. It's our innate intuition. That's all we have to trust. We don't need to trust any medicine. And the other biggest lesson from this podcast is to always use discernment. And because of that huge well that is in your aura, and you're making some choices that are not good when this isn't healed for yourself, these two women will never be enough for him. It will never be enough. He'll get tired of these women and want to get more, or disregard them and get more. It doesn't matter. Just like Joseph Smith, 20 women wasn't enough for him. 2 14-year-old women weren't enough for Joseph Smith. Women that were married currently at the time of him marrying them weren't enough for him. I think in the end he had close to 40 or over 40 wives. Just like Keith Raniere, abusing women one after another was never enough. He always needed more. And I want to say to him, and if you find yourself, or if someone else has behaviors like this that are attention seeking and harmful to others, and you feel that you're succumbing to addictions like him with his imbalance of his sacral chakra, get help professionally. Try a licensed therapist. Talk to someone. Get EMDR with a therapist. You don't have to use substances, and you don't have to use women either to try to fix yourself. You can go get professional help to heal these. And to the women that are his partners, this is screaming of an imbalanced solar plexus chakra, a low self-esteem, and I just want to say that you deserve real love. You deserve respect. You deserve to not have your worth based in sexually gratifying a man. You deserve to be honored for who you are, just not how beautiful you are. And that's the message, to really look within and understand and learn how to heal your solar plexus, to learn your own value and your own self-worth. And I wanted to share this because I feel like I have a rare outlook on it, because I grew up in a high demand organized religion, aka a cult, and I left it. I also learned how to really heal my solar plexus and understand my worth, and also learned how to connect with my intuition and to use discernment. So I feel like that's such an important thing that needs to be shared and can be learned, and that's why I'm sharing my voice, and that's why my voice matters. So when you act from a place of a wounded ego or a wounded inner child, sometimes the behaviors in an individual that is suffering in that way can self-sabotage. And that's where all of this comes from. Our ego is really linked to our inner child. So when we have behaviors that hurt others, this is where it can come from. You can see this in women that continually choose abusive partners. This is just an example. Until they do their own inner healing work. And once they do, then they attract partners that are respectful and love them for who they are and are not abusive. So this is just an example of that. Acting from the subconscious mind. We attract things that we don't even realize we're attracting until we've learned the lesson, and then we can attract better quality experiences and relationships into our lives. Couple huge lessons. So I wrote out at least 4 main lessons of this experience. I always try to think, what is the lesson? It's triggering because there's a lesson, right? So I put 4 main ones. I believe it's 4. So the first one is for society, especially in the spiritual world. Apparently this was a big lesson that we needed to hear again. Do not put people on a pedestal. It's fun to see people and be like, oh, I want to be more financially successful like them. I want to be more physically fit. I want to have a hot partner like they do. They seem so happy, right? And drive the nice car and have the nice house or the freedom, whatever it is that we're idealizing that they have. Once again, such a great lesson. Do not put people on a pedestal. Have your own goals. Have your own dreams that you share with the universe, that the universe can support you in, but have them come from inside of you, not from something that you see out on the outside over and over again the last decade or 5 to 10 years. We've had people that we've put on pedestals, including even the Dalai Lama, that have acted out in ways that completely knock the pedestal out. And we have to go within and say, now that I don't have that person, what does that mean to me? What do I want? What do I idolize? How do I connect with my own intuition? So that's number 1. Don't put people on pedestals. Number 2, always use discernment. Discernment is using our intuition mixed with knowledge and mixed with, I want to add, common sense. So it's, there's an issue in the world, in our 3D reality. We need to tune into our heart. And how does that feel when someone says something or someone's trying to give us a directive? And then we need to do education and research and learn as much as we can. And then we have to use our own common sense. The research is saying this, my heart told me this person is telling me this, or this quote authority. But when we use discernment, we tune into what is actually true. When you have a quote, God ISIS telling you to have sexual relations with another extra person in your relationship, that's when discernment kicks in. Would Spirit tell me to act out sexually or do anything sexually? No, Spirit does not have anything to do with your sexual behavior, period. Spirit does not tell people to do sexual acts. End of story. Number 3, it's a reminder that the feminine is so misunderstood and mistreated at this current time in our world here on earth, in our earthly experience. We need to learn how to respect the feminine, and it's not just energy. The women are a physical manifestation of feminine energy. They need to be respected and nurtured and honored. Having multiple wives is not any of that. That's the opposite. It's misogyny and it's womanizing. Number 4, when we don't look at and heal our inner child, it will continue to rule our behavior subconsciously. When you don't look at your subconscious, it will continue to dominate your outer experience. So when we have behaviors like this, where there's womanizing, where there's taking advantage of other people, we need to really look within and investigate and ask, what part of me is needing to be healed, and how can we do that? And I want to repeat it. I know I already said it, but I wrote it in my notes and I said it a little early. Just a reminder, Spirit will never dictate or tell you to have sexual relations with anyone or anything. That's not what Spirit does at all. And using drugs, aka plant medicine, does open you up to dark entities and attachments that will twist your intuition, and it can also, in some cases, result in lower vibrational behavior and moods. This is my opinion, and I have seen it with my own clairvoyance before, so I do trust what I see. And I want to add some things about marriage and monogamy in general. Marriage is a very old tradition, and being with one person. I'm not a huge fan. I don't think it's natural to be with one person your entire life. We change so much. And if you're with a partner, like a soulmate type partner that you can change with and they grow with you, that is beautiful and wonderful, and I applaud you. But I think also we need to be flexible about changing and not being codependent. I'm not a therapist, but this is just my opinion. And it's totally fine if someone doesn't want to participate in monogamy. Once again, it's manipulating people and taking advantage of others that have a low self-esteem and self-worth, and telling them that God or another being told that person to be in sexual relationships with more than one. That is not right. It is exactly what Joseph Smith did. He approached his women telling them that an angel came to him with a flaming sword, and if they didn't agree to seal their additional marriage, their polygamous or polyandry relationship with Joseph Smith, that angel said that he would kill them and Joseph Smith and their families, and it was complete lies and threat. And this just had way too many similarities. So I just wanted to share that comparison. If you want to do some research on your own, that is such narcissistic behavior to believe that an outer energy came to you to tell you who to have sexual relations with. And it just screams of Keith Raniere, it screams of Joseph Smith. This is just another guy acting in this way to satisfy his own sexual pleasures, which is completely wrong, not high vibrational at all. And it's unfortunate that someone as intelligent and wise as Paul Chek, his own mentor, has the same unhealed wound, and he's acting out in that way as well. So I think in this case, Aubrey Marcus feels justified because this other man who seems successful is telling, showing him in his behavior that this behavior is okay, and it's not. That is womanizing, period. Let's go over what the meaning of womanizing is. I just want to read it out loud. So the definition of a womanizer is someone who has multiple sexual encounters or relationships with more than one woman on a regular basis. That is the definition. And that is exactly Aubrey Marcus's behavior, and also Paul Chek, and also Joseph Smith, and also Brigham Young, and also Keith Raniere. You could go on and on. So if they're satisfied exemplifying these other men with these other narcissistic behaviors, then that's what they need to exemplify, and he needs to talk about that on a podcast and not justifying his behavior, calling it radical monogamy like he's making all these good choices, because it isn't. So I just wanted to share my 2 cents. At the end, I felt like pulling a card for you guys. Whenever there's situations that are stressful mentally, emotionally, and that trigger us, I think it's always good to come back to our center, to connect to all that is, to what is real, use discernment, and come back to a place of peace and clarity, right? So I pulled a card from the Wild Unknown Tarot. I love this deck. It's so extremely beautiful. And I pulled a card as I was waiting. My daughter had come in making herself lunch. I had gardeners, so I had to stop the video several times. But I finally finished, and here's the card I pulled, the 7 of Wands. It's so beautiful. And right away, this card just shows, look at all of these wands to the side. And we have this one with the light on. And this is your intuition. This is your discernment. Step into your power. Don't be afraid to be different and unique. Let everything else fall to the wayside. When I was in the spiritual community, teaching meditation to the community for over 6 years, I had quite a large meetup group where we would meet in the community. I shared with a friend, and what started happening was plant medicine started coming in. And I don't have a problem with other people doing that. It's just not correct for me and my soul, and I don't feel like it's of the greatest good for the general public. So I decided to leave that and take a step back. I felt like so many people didn't want to use their own intuition and learn how to connect to all that is without the medicine. and everyone just wanted to use drugs. And that is such a sad thing, because we are made perfectly. We're made with everything that we need in our mind. Our brains, like I said in the beginning, actually release DMT on their own. All you have to do is meditate. You don't have to take substances at all to connect to all that is, to know all things. So this is a reminder that you are the light. You can connect to that consciousness, that state. It is within you. And sometimes it's not going to be the most popular thing to do, and that's okay. So I want to leave you with that. Many blessings. You can check out my website if you want to schedule a reading. I do group sessions. I teach meditation, all kinds of cool stuff. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you use your own discernment at this time. It is so important to be able to do that.